Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Dear brothers, sisters, I do want to share, as part of this Light of Reflection podcast, some of the activities that we have talked about during these 8 months. And the reason these 8 months, when I say mean the 2023 8 months through August, the reason I want to share these first before I talk about what is coming up next is because it gives you a context of what we are focusing on, and just to realign everyone on the topics that we typically talk about. These are not like your average regular day, like everyday topics. These are sometimes controversial topics, sometimes they are much more enriching topics, and also they go into the narrations of the Quran, the Hadith, and the tafsir of the Quran. So there are 18 different, I would say, sections or series that we have talked about at light of reflection from the very beginning. Some of these, so for example, they were about COVID and Allah's punishment. That was the first series that we started right in 2020. And interestingly, we started this channel before the COVID, and it happened right after COVID. And then the COVID happened. Then we talk about the struggle in the path of Allah, the Prophet, and his household. We have also talked in detail about investigations into the martyrdom of Sayyid Fatima Zahra. We've discussed the topic of freedom of Hijaz. We've discussed the movie The Lady of Heaven, which was a controversial topic, especially amongst the Muslims, even amongst the Shias. As I've mentioned many times, I am in the favor of the movie because it shared the history which has been hidden for the past 1400 years. So we talk about that topic in detail. We also talked about some of the reflections from the Zahra trips. We've talked about Islamic history and how there were several misconceptions that were added into the Islamic history to confuse the masses. We've talked about the Quranic themes. We've talked about the lessons that we have from our daily life, especially an experience that I had in the hospital. We've talked about daily reflections and miscellaneous topics. Uh, we talked about uh, the New Year's resolution. That was a big theme in 2023. New Year's resolution, we spent January like at least recording, I don't know, like 30 different podcasts on that particular topic, New Year's resolution. Very important discussion. Please go ahead and read it. Still, you have time to complete your New Year's resolutions or make resolutions for 2023, even if you have not made them already. We have talked about satanic instruments and intrusions. How does Satan play a role in confusing people? We've talked about intercession in Islam and Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. We have also talked about a topic which was related to treachery against the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, treachery against the household of the Prophet, and giving contemporary examples from Pakistan and how things are unfolding today. We have talked about all of these topics and also some of the non-profits that we deal with in terms of like their activities and app implications. So my dear brothers and sisters, as you can see, there is a wide range of discussions that we have had in part of Light of Reflection series, and these discussions have often resulted um, in books, and some of these books are in progress. These discussions have resulted in lectures on Friday as part of Friday's sermons and have resulted in majalis topics. These discussions have resulted in speeches given at various centers. So, my dear brothers and sisters, what we share over here is basically what is shared on different podiums, different locations by different scholars. The discussion that has happened in the Zanabia youth group, which is the genesis of Light of Reflection, has profound impact on the society. I don't know how long, what will be the end result of all of these podcasts. But I do know this, that if we make an effort in the cause of Allah with sincere niyyah, Allah will provide for us. And that is a symbol of taqwa, because we are conveying the message of Allah for the broader humanity. And at some point, someone somewhere in some part of the world might listen to these messages, might listen to the message of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, and they might see, oh yes, this is useful in this regard, to answering a question or having a discussion or opening a dialogue or opening that bulb that will trigger the quest of knowledge. And that is the goal. So please, dear brothers, sisters, if you have any questions, any suggestions, any recommendations, please feel free to recommend them to us, and we will keep on sharing that knowledge through the knowledge that has been gained by the scholars like Dr. Hatim, like Maulana Hashim, and others. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.